COVID-19, also called as coronavirus disease of 2019, is a sickness caused by virus called as severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus or SARS-CoV-2. This is the kind of coronavirus. Coronavirus is a family of viruses that causes illness similar to SARS, MERS, and all we have seen in earlier cases. Many people with this disease shows mild symptoms. Some won't show symptoms. Some will show acute symptoms, and some even move to, the fatality also. So that's why some are mild, some are serious. That means comorbid people are at high end risk. And now the thing is, if you look at this COVID-19, it took lives of millions and it damaged lives of millions, and still it is continuing after, even after 4 years. So it started journey from Wuhan's till to even Indian cities. Look at us, and most of us are got infected, and still it is roaming here and there, and it's transferring from one nose to another nose in the form of droplets. Now that's why it's really challenging that even after developing a vaccine, even after taking one or two or three shots of vaccine, people are getting infected with this because it's keep on mutating and developing the new variants. So development of new variants are the real challenge for us to develop a vaccine. That means every season we may need to take a new vaccine so that we can manage this disease. So, if you look at the overview of this disease, the coronavirus disease, the infection is caused by SARS-CoV-2 virus, and most people infected with the virus will experience a mild to moderate respiratory illness and recover without requiring a special treatment. However, some will become seriously ill and require medical attentions. You look at many people who got infected at the early age has been not shown much symptoms, but there are people who have shown high-end symptoms, particularly older people, and those with underlying medical conditions like cardiovascular disease, diabetes, a chronic respiratory disease, or cancer are more likely to develop illness because their body is already suppressed. The immune system is easily suppressed. So what happens? This virus can grow faster. So anyone can get sick with COVID-19 and become seriously ill or die at any age. Even data shows like that. There is no, we can't say whether the babies are not infected, adults are not, young adults are not infected, or maybe the aged ones. There is no differentiation like this because most of us are prone for infections and we may get serious infections and die at any stage of our life. That's what the data says. You look at the data, now the global situations, the confirmed cases are millions of cases you can see, and around 6.9 million people are passed away. I'm not saying that confirmed clearly because of this. Death mainly because of this is that much less. 69 lakh people are died. That means 6.9 million, around 7 million people are dead. That is a confirmed cases. But we don't know associated many cases. Maybe more than 10 million people have died in 3-4 years due to these infections. 772 million cases were recorded globally. So that's the number of cases increase and keep on increasing. And today, day before yesterday, I read in newspaper stating that there is a cases are confirmed across and 14,000, 15,000 cases are happening every day. It's because if you look at the real-time data of World Health Organization, it's keep on increasing. It's challenging. Now, what is the structure of this corona? Why do we call it as corona? The coronavirus named for its crown-like appearance, if you look at it. Right? It's a family of virus that includes one responsible for COVID-19, SARS-CoV-2, and the virus has a distinctive structure with several key components. The first thing is viral envelope. The coronavirus have an outer envelope, lipid layer derived from the host cell membrane. This envelope encases genetic material, various protein necessary for the virus to functioning, replicate, all those things. The spike protein. This protein protrudes from the viral envelope and gives the virus a crown-like appearance. And the S protein play a crucial role in attaching to and entering the host cell because it has to attach and enter the host cell to cause infection in human beings. So that is the main stage. And who is helping that? The spike protein. It's like a key which attached to a lock, and if it's proper, then it can open and enter. Then envelope protein. This protein is involved in viral assembly and release and contributing to virus structure and functions. That means this envelope protein is keeping this whole virus intact. If you can break this envelope protein, the virus will lose its structure and we can manage the infections. Then membrane proteins interact with the nucleocapsid and envelope and helping in the virus assembly and structure function formations and all those things. Then nucleocapsid proteins. Inside the viral envelope is the nucleocapsid A structure formed by the viral RNA genome complex. That means it includes this RNA. RNA is the genetic material of this virus. So single stranded RNA and it multiplies so that it need protection because that's the main machinery of this coronavirus. If we can kill that virus by killing its genetic material. So genetic material is RNA. So this emergence of COVID-19 is caused by novel coronavirus, as we all know, and this is the one of the remarkable kind of infections in a modern history, because even after Spanish flu and all, remaining infections maybe we consider SARS was a pandemic, but it's not. We could control it, profoundly affecting every facet of human life on global scales. It starts from US till even in Honolulu, Honolulu, Hawaii, or you may look at in Tuvalu, a country in Polynesia, Micronesia. Everyone across the globe is got infected. The multifaceted nature of this pandemic encompasses health, economic, social, and psychological dimensions. It's not damaged only our health, even psychological behavior. Many people went to depression after this disease. Many people went to financial depressions, health depressions, economical depressions. Every angle, people life got damaged in unimaginable way. What is the health impact and epidemiology? Then we'll discuss little about health impact later, but health impact and epidemiology. COVID-19 primarily transmitted through respiratory droplet, as we all know, and initiating a global health crisis. Its epidemiology revealed a spectrum of symptoms from mild flu-like manifestation to severe symptoms and even fatal outcomes also. The virus ability to spread asymptomatically is the challenging one, because these are called asymptomatic carriers, because they don't show any symptoms, because they act as a reservoir. From there, the people keep on getting infections. The virus ability to spread asymptomatically heightened its threat, facilitating rapid community transmission and posing a challenge for containment efforts, because people initially thought that even though they are not showing any symptoms, which may help others to develop a herd immunity, which is not real. These non-symptomatic or asymptomatic areas were the biggest challenge for containment of this disease. The severity of COVID-19 cases correlate with age and underlying health conditions, but its unpredictability made it a formidable adversary for healthcare systems worldwide. You look at a developed country, look at underdeveloped country, you look at a country which is in a developing stage. Everywhere it has got in a different way. Hospitals are grappled with overwhelming patient surges, shortage of medical equipment, strains on healthcare workers. So, because we have a particular amount of healthcare setup, so suddenly if you put overload on them, it collapses. Even in developed country like Italy, it collapsed. In US, it collapsed. They couldn't manage it. The emergence of variants like Delta, Omicron, so new variants starts on keep on coming up. See, you develop a vaccine for one variant, the new variants will emerge, and that will have more potent, like it's a potent variant compared to that. Means virulence. If you consider the earlier variants, the new variant will have a better, well, I mean the virulence. So then it can cause disease. It can show high-end symptoms. It can make many people suffer more. So then it puts under our vaccine efficiency, whether our vaccine efficacy is high against them or not. So it puts every aspects of human thinking, maybe vaccine development, strategy development, criteria, or protocols, everything it keep on puts under test to see that whether it's working or not. Now, if you look at the health impact itself, the transmission dynamics, the virus rapidly through respiratory droplet, leading to widespread infection worldwide, because the respiratory transmission is easy and people are in a continuous movement. So it's easy that through respiratory, most of them will get a surface which is infected with that. Then severity spectrum, while many cases are mild or asymptomatic, severe cases can result in this ARDS, that means acute respiratory distress syndrome problems, or even death, and particularly among older adults and individuals with underlying health conditions. So severity spectrum varied. So some did not get much infections. I mean the load based on maybe on load symptoms. So it's challenge. Then one more, the biggest challenge what the whole healthcare sector faced, even it's a long COVID. Even most of us are recovered from COVID, but still we are COVID patients. Lots of problems, dizziness, acute phase, then affecting various organs, bodily functions, psychological imbalances. The people flu-like continuous flu-like symptoms, which is very difficult to cure, antibiotic resistance, many issues have come up. Now, if you look at whole COVID, these things, the symptoms are fever, cough, shortness of breath, fatigue, muscle or body ache, loss of taste, smell. This is the one thing, loss of taste and smell. Even I experience with loss of taste and smell. Then sore throat, congestion, headache, nausea, diarrhea. Severe ranges from mild to severe, with some individuals become asymptomatic. So this is you look at the nature. The infection happens from nature. That means it is believed that maybe from bat to civet, civets or something like that, or maybe from a wet Wuhan wet meat market it was spread across the globe. So it's the end of the day, it's something from a nature it is coming, but it won't infect everyone. It won't kill everyone. It is infecting few, it is not infecting few. So that means it depends on human health strategy. We can manage this disease. That means some shows symptoms of severity, some show symptoms of mildness. So because of this, what happens is very, very difficult for us to develop a strategy to manage this disease. Then variants, because genome, this genetic material is RNA, and these viral RNA underwent mutations. That means it keep on showing mutations. Because this continuous mutation, what happens is the new variants start emerging. So delta variants, omicron variants. So as the variants are increased, what happens? These things slowly start evading our immune responses. And so it's the global health sector gained a kind of what we can call tensions due to this increased transmissibility of this disease, RS disease. The pandemic, that means how was our healthcare response and innovations, how it helped us. The pandemic necessitated rapid healthcare adaptations, like countries where hospitals are less, countries where primary healthcare system is weak, countries where private investment in healthcare sector is low. It's very difficult. Hospitals improves by establishing COVID-19 treatment units. They could not, like this is like wearing mask, wearing all gadgets which is required, so like PPEs. So it's very difficult. Personal protection PPEs and all. This is very difficult. It's an embarrassing, like a telemedicine system then monoclonal antibodies, antiviral medications were. So it's like the plasma therapy. So it's a different angle people look at this disease. One thing is how we can manage COVID treatment by improving healthcare system. How we can increase the budget. I mean the investments in this area. Then telemedicine. So because now everywhere connected through internet, so internet medication is possible. Then monoclonal antibody developments, antiviral medication developments, many things they involve. The development and deployment of vaccine with record time, because of rDNA, recombinant DNA technology, we could access and increase the production units, and India played a major role in this production unit compared, because India is the production hub of global vaccine. So India helped the globe. So that's what we call vaccine diplomacy and all those things we have seen. Now, economic disruptions and socio-economic impact, because when we study a biologists won't look at all this, but it's a reality. We faced it, so we need to discuss about this. The pandemic ripples effect disrupted the global economies, causing recession, supply chain disruptions, widespread job losses. So even though it's just like economic depression, the supply chain disruption is the biggest challenge, because of COVID equipment, PPEs we need, because it's most of the time it's manufactured in China. From China to global supply, if anything go wrong with the supply chain, there will be a shortfall of this PPEs, personal protective equipments. Small business bore the brunt, the facing closures, financial hardships, income inequality, widespread vulnerability of populations. Some groups are not getting enough money to take the medications, all those things. Socially, the pandemic induced isolations, exacerbating mental health issues, lockdown, social distancing, remote work altered the societal norms, impacting educations. Many schools and other things were closed, relationships, community dynamics changed. People are slowly learn that they can go for online platforms, they can remote learning, posing challenge for students, educators, parents. We have seen, so this is all the challenge. See, we understand this is like what is the organism causing, what is the symptoms, and how to treat them, how to prevent them. But that is not real the disease. Disease is how well that disease penetrated deeply into the socio-economic status of individuals, socio-economical disruptions what is happening. So we need to see that also. Then only we can understand the disease in a comprehensive way. Otherwise, what really happens is just what is the organism which causes the disease and what is the disease symptoms and how we can manage that. But that is a biological part of it. But what about the socio-economic part of it? Because just treating a disease with a vaccine is the idea, but where to produce that vaccine? Can we produce at a cheaper cost? Country like India, where the vaccine is produced at cheaper cost. So most of the global production unit is shifted to India, Serum Institute and all, Pune. So because of that, what happens is the cost of production will low, so the supply chain won't get interrupted because a common man also can buy these vaccines. It's so all like connected dots. I mean the web. So one is got disrupted, another thing will get disrupted. So global response and the challenges. The governments, I mean the public sector worldwide implemented a public health measures like mask mandate, travel restrictions, vaccine campaigns. So people don't easily take vaccines. People don't easily wear masks. This is for compulsory we have to make. We have to educate the people that you have to wear this mask. What is the importance of wearing masks? Then personal hygiene. However, the vaccine distribution inequalities between affluent and developing nations underscored global health inequities. That means people, those who, I mean, the countries which had money who borrowed and vaccines and they stock, their stockpile is increasing. Then what about the countries where the money is not there to buy the vaccines? Then how the World Health Organization, UN agencies manage this? So the emergence of new variants underscored again the vaccinations. You purchase and kept in your warehouse, there is a vaccine for X variant. Suddenly new variant surge has happened in that country. Then what about that vaccines? The continuous vigilance, adaptations, international collaborations in combating pandemics. So we learn lots of lessons from this. Lots of challenges we face. We learn not lots of lessons. That means people initially thought that it's manageable with one kind of vaccines. Then they thought that vaccine is not working. Then RNA-based vaccines, traditional conventional vaccines were made. The protein-based vaccines were made. Glycoprotein-based vaccines were made. One or another vaccine is working. That's a reality. But even though this vaccination campaign in the initial stage is really failed, people were not ready to take the vaccines. Then the government made compulsory, unless you have, particularly in India, unless you have a vaccine certificate, you can't go out, you can't travel in trains, you can't travel, go to your workplace and work. So that's why, because people are forced to take, and slowly what happened is everyone was programmed, their brain was programmed that we can take this vaccine and vaccine is safe. But still the vaccine side effects and other things, still studies are going on, because it's just without a preliminary clinical trial they introduce this vaccine into a market. The lesson learned and moving forward, this is important. So pandemic has happened, we developed a strategy, many lives, millions of lives, around 7 million people lost their life. But if you compare to the around 800 million population what is there in the globe, 7 million is not a small number. But we need to learn a lesson from that. Then we need to move forward. The pandemic highlighted the importance of resilience, adaptability, and solidarity. So there we understood the globe is one. It underscored the critical role of science, urging investment in research, pandemic preparedness, equitable healthcare access, collaborative efforts in vaccine development, showcase the potential of global cooperation in tackling health crisis. When health crisis comes, if global population, I mean the people, I mean the all countries in the globe, if they join their hand together, then it is easy to manage. As the world navigates through a recovery, rebuilding shattered economies, addressing mental health repercussions, and mitigating the lasting effects of the pandemic remain a paramount, and moreover efforts to achieve equitable vaccine distributions and strengthen healthcare systems, enhance preparedness for future pandemics. Because from this pandemic, we have to learn a lesson. That lesson may be a starting point for next pandemic, our next outbreaks, our next epidemics. Because from this pandemic, we learned many lessons. We have uh, invested money in managing this disease. So because of that, what happens? Our primary healthcare system is improved. So that is a gain. Even in time of pandemic, that is a gain. Because this why because why that learning lesson and moving impact, because this virus infected first. Initially it was infecting respiratory tract, viral entry. Then it moves to lungs, it damages there. So this is the one challenge. Then nervous system impact, because common sense, loss of smells results. So this is the one more challenge we face, because we losing our smell, sensory perceptions we were losing. Some persons it might have detected in CSF also. So that's what it's infecting brain. Then gastrointestinal issues. People facing gastrointestinal tract issues. Then cardiovascular issues. The virus caused acute myocardial injuries in some people. So that's still we are facing that problem, and many are getting heart failure and other issues. Kidney infections. Then immunological aspects. What is the ongoing challenges we are facing here? One is vaccine equity, disparity in vaccine distribution globally, with some regions facing challenge in accessing vaccines. So vaccines were produced. Some of the countries were found out the idea or techniques to develop this vaccine. Once the technique is developed, then some should produce. The India was the major manufacturer of it. Once the manufacturer produce sufficient vaccine, it should be dispatched to the global. So now the problem is, who has the money, they will buy and stock. But those who are not having money cannot buy. So that's the challenging. So inequity in distribution leads to a global challenge. Then pandemic fatigue, weariness and reduced adherence to preventive measures over a time. So what happens is, initially we follow all protocols as per the, but as we used to eat, people don't follow it. Then emerging variants, continuously new variants are emerging. So that's also not a good sign. So tackling new virus, new variants, we need a new strategies. So that's the challenging. This is the ongoing challenge what we face. So as we come to the conclusion of it, the COVID-19 caused by the novel coronavirus SARS-CoV-2 emerged in late 2019, as we all aware of it, and quickly became a global health crisis. Initially started from Wuhan, then it spreads to globe. It spreads primarily through a respiratory droplets and leading to spectrum of symptoms ranging from mild flu-like illness to severe respiratory distress and fatalities in some cases, and disproportionately affecting orders like adults, individuals, children, pregnant women, older adults, then old people also. And those who are with a comorbid, they are pre-health clinical health conditions, they are more prone for this, and they may be show serious illness or serious symptoms. The pandemic had a far-reaching consequence across various domains. Healthcare system faced immense strains due to surge in cases, causing causing a shortage of medical supplies, overwhelming hospital capacities. Economic experienced disruptions, which business closures, job losses, and global recession, social separations, lockdowns, distancing, social distance, measureless to isolations, mental health challenges, disruptions in education. So many things happen, as we all know, aware of it. These are all the many shortfalls. Many shortfalls are there here, because even though we learned lessons, many things we couldn't implement the way we want to implement. That's we know it's not easy because in a society like India or in a society like Africa or maybe in Latin America, it's not so easy to implement. The global response involved in implementing public health measures like mask mandate, travel restrictions, vaccine campaigns, and the rapid development and distribution of vaccine represented milestones in combating virus. Because we have logistic support is a good thing. Like, see, one thing is there we can develop a vaccine, but we need to support other countries. We need to send these cargoes from one place to another place. However, disparities in vaccine access between countries highlighted the global health inequities. We could produce it, we could distribute it, but what about the purchasing power of a country? Unless they are strong, economically strong enough to purchase this, they cannot access. That was the one shortfall. The pandemic taught a crucial lesson about importance of resilience, collaboration, scientific advancement in addressing global crises. So when a pandemic happens, all entire countries join their hand together. Because of that, what happened is we learned many lessons, and that lesson is a first step for next pandemic. As the world navigates the recovery, efforts persist in equitable vaccines distributions, strengthening healthcare system, preparing for future pandemics. So it's not so easy the way we speak to contain disease like COVID-19 because it's a widespread infections. Uh, Again, if you look at the Chinese scenario, still people are under problems. Many cases uh, where it's surge is happening locally. Even in India, there was a cases in Telangana, there was a cases in Andhra. Many places they are testing and finding positive. So it's not easy to contain this, but at the same time, if we can manage, if we can make these protocols strong enough to manage this disease, it is possible. So now the thing is, many of us won't test. So that's test and isolate was the initial strategy they used. But many of us won't test. So when we don't test, it's very difficult for us to trace. When we cannot trace it, there are risk factors associated with that. That means people, infected persons, may develop other high risk. I mean the risk also, health risk also. So unless we test we don't know, and unless we test we can't treat that. So that's the challenging thing, and particularly in underdeveloped countries and developing countries. So but in developed countries, at least they test, they isolate, and they treat. The COVID-19 pandemic stands a testament to humanity adaptabilities, how well we can adapt. So there was a lockdown, and how people adapted. People adapted very nicely. That's why we are surviving, and underscore the necessity for collective actions, innovations, solidarity in the face of unprecedented. So when unprecedented challenges comes, we need to show the solidarity. We need to work as a one force, a globe as a one globe, because Earth is a common home, and if we don't collaborate, we don't join our hands together, challenging this kind of challenges may overtake our expectations. And this challenge, this kind of viral infections, so keep on throwing a new challenges, and as it throw a new challenges, we need to develop a new strategies. So this new strategy may be at a state level, or maybe at the country level, or maybe at the uh, global level. Because earlier a problem in China, it's a problem of China, but today it's not like that. If it is a problem in China, it's a problem of a globe. If it's a problem in India, it's a problem of a globe, because we are becoming a more global dependent, and we are in a continuous movement. As we move from one place to another place, there is a high chance of that we may carry this disease from one place to another place. So that's the real challenge. Thank you.